Hello! Woohoo! Another adventure with me. All right. So, hold on while I fix my nose ring. All right. While I get all the tech stuff done, you know the drill if you follow me. It's a great opportunity for us to do some Kegels. All right. Squeeze in, squeeze your genitals, squeezing in, exhaling, relaxing. Squeezing in, exhaling and relaxing. One more time. Squeeze in, exhale and relax. All right, hold on. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Boom, chicka, wow, wow. Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whatever time you're watching me or listening to me. So welcome to another fabulous episode of My Orgasmic Life. I'm your hostess, Gaia Morrissette. I am a holistic sexual wellness specialist, a BDSM wellness specialist, and trauma recovery expert. Just to give you a, if you're new to me. Okay, and today's episode was brought to you by our sponsors, ticklelife. Go check them out. So, I'm kind of excited about this conversation, actually. I've been studying human behavior, my whole life. So, pretty much since I could start to watch humans, I have been studying them and finding them incredibly fascinating and trying to understand why we do what we do. And so that's like my own personal kind of agenda of why we're here, why I'm here. So in particular, over the last, I would say 20 years in particular, I've been really fascinated by jealousy. I've been really fascinated by why people choose monogamy. When we aren't as a species, we are typically not monogamous, truly monogamous. There are a small percentage of us, just like in the animal kingdom, there's a small percentage of species that are truly monogamous. But for the most of us, we aren't monogamous, yet we choose monogamy. And I'm like, this is incredibly fascinating. Why would we do this? It makes no sense to me. So I've been really watching and observing and, working with people and watching all my friends and watching society and like really diving into this and being incredibly fascinating. And I have this last weekend, I finally got the missing link. I finally got the piece of the puzzle that I've been searching for the last 20 years. So I want to share with you what that is, because I'm super excited. Woo! Okay. So what inspired this epiphany was I did a podcast last week with a fantastic woman, Evita Sawyer. And we had a great conversation about jealousy within polyamory and non-monogamy. And we were like really dropping into it and having conversations about jealousy and, the ugly places of jealousy. And what came from that was like, it's like this little light bulb went off in my head. I was like, I think the reason why we choose monogamy when we actually aren't truly monogamous. And before I talk about, so that you're like, no, there's no way. Fuck you, Gaia. Let me clarify when I say true monogamy, okay? So true monogamy means you are not sexually attracted to anyone other than your partner. You don't have sex dreams about anybody else. You don't watch porn because it's, unless it's, your partner. You don't find other people attractive as they're walking down the street. You're not like, ooh, that's kind of a hot piece of ass. You don't, any of that stuff. That's what it means to be truly monogamous. Okay, so so now we have that framework, okay? So when I say truly monogamous, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the monogamy that most of us choose, whether we consciously or subconsciously choose it, because we actually aren't monogamous beings, okay? All right, so that's the premise, okay? So true monogamy, that's the definition. Everything else is a choice. Okay, so where was I? Now that I got that out. Okay, so the epiphany. All right, so when I was leaning in on my podcast last week with Evita, and we really were diving into this jealousy piece, what occurred to me was that, okay, when we feel jealous in a monogamous relationship, we feel, so let's lay out jealousy. I need to backstep a little bit, okay? So to define it so that we're all on the same page. So jealousy is this feeling that comes over us, this overwhelming feeling. And for some of us, it can be like physical, where it's like, feels like you've been punched in the gut. It's like, ooh, right? So what happens is that we feel jealous. And then the first thing that happens with jealousy is we feel justified in the next course of action. Okay, so the next series of events that are going to happen, we feel completely justified in it because the other person, it's their fault. So that's kind of the premise of jealousy. It's a way to like, it's like you feel it, somebody else's fault, and that they need to change their behavior. And then there's also a feeling of justification in the next series of behaviors of being violent, being abusive, being vengeful. These are the kind of things that happen when we feel jealous. Now, underneath that jealousy is the real stuff that's going on internally with you. So, feeling insecure about something, not feeling that you're getting enough attention from your partner, feeling a lack of something, a lack of, you're having body image issues, feeling fear of abandonment. Like there's all of the actual true emotions and the things that are happening are underneath jealousy. And that's really uncomfortable. Let's just fucking be honest. Like, no one wants to look at that shit. No one wants to look at that. I feel like I'm not as pretty as that person over there. Or what if you leave me for that person over there? Or what if you, don't actually, you fall in love with that person and you don't love me anymore? No one wants to feel those feelings. Because deep down inside, underneath the fear, is the true emotion that needs to be healed. Okay? All right. So that's what jealousy is. Now, in monogamy, so this is the epiphany that I had. So in non-monogamy, ethical consensual non-monogamy, so swinging and polyamory and open relationships and harems and all the variables of ethical non-monogamy. When jealousy comes up, it's the person's responsibility that is having the jealousy to deal with their shit. It's not okay to be like, you need to stop doing that. You need. It's not acceptable in ethical non-monogamy. Ethical non-monogamy is like, okay, I can hold space for you in your jealousy, but I'm not changing my behavior. We can modify what's happening outside in our relationship to give you those extra things, but it's not my fault that you're feeling jealous. Okay, so that's kind of the premise of non-monogamy. that jealousy is your own shit that you got to look at. All right, let's go over to monogamy world. In monogamy world, it's totally acceptable to blame somebody else for your feelings. It's totally okay to be like, well, yeah, I'm totally jealous because you were looking at that person. I'm totally jealous because you spend time with your ex. I'm totally jealous, and you need to stop that behavior. That's like, in monogamy, that's like totally acceptable behavior. Now the problem, so if you're listening, well, you're like, of course. They shouldn't be looking at somebody else. They shouldn't be friends with their ex. They should stop hanging out with the opposite sex. Absolutely. Okay, so if that's what's happening while you're listening to me right now, I lovingly invite you to lean in. And no matter how much you disagree with me, to just try, don't hang up on. Don't turn it off. Listen all the way to the end, okay? Because this is a really important piece, okay? The thing is that you still feel the jealousy. You never, ever get rid of the jealousy until you heal what's underneath the jealousy. And having, thank you. I have somebody live making some comments about, okay, I'm listening. All right, great. Fantastic. Love it. All right. You're amazing. Hey, thank you for the loves and the thumbs up. And, I just wanted to take a moment to shout out to all the people that are with me right now, like are really engaged. Okay. All right. So let's come back to the jealousy. All right. So it's not that piece around you trying to avoid what's underneath. And that's really what it is. By choosing monogamy, by choosing to be when you actually aren't truly monogamous, is because you're afraid of what's underneath the jealousy. The feelings of insecurity, the feelings of abandonment, the feelings of rejection, the feelings of low self-esteem and body image, the feelings of being unworthy of love, the feelings, all of those feelings. If you are not actually truly monogamous and you're choosing monogamy, it's because you're, one of the reasons. There's some other variables. Some other variables of dropping into monogamy are it's less complicated. And it's a little easier when you got kids. And, it's, like I said, a lot of work to be non-monogamous, all right? And do it well. So, okay. But outside of that, we often drop into this place because we're trying to avoid jealousy. And in that avoidance of jealousy, we actually feel more jealous. So sit with that for a second. Okay? Because you're trying to avoid something, you're trying to squash the feelings of jealousy. Once that ends up happening is that you now have to control everything around you and your partner to try to make it so that you're in this safe bubble, because you don't really want to look, because you're afraid. You're afraid, and it's okay to be afraid. It's like, it's not comfortable. That shit's ugly. It's not pleasant. There's nothing enjoyable about it, right? So it makes total sense why we work really hard to create this kind of bubble of where we are not pushed into looking at really the core stuff of what's going on with us. And we drop into that place so often. So here's what typically sequence of events happen. All right, so let's talk about body image. So this is a one that happens often. So I'm not feeling sexy. I'm not feeling beautiful. I feel like I've gained some weight. I'm not feeling, overly, sexy. I'm feeling a little apprehensive about how I look and my sexiness and my confidence level. Okay. So so I'm carrying that. That's mine. And I'm in a partnership. I'm in this monogamous partnership. This is hypothetical, by the way. Okay. If you're like, what is happening? What do you mean guys in a monogamous relationship? Okay, this is hypothetical. All right. Okay. So I'm in a monogamous relationship, and my partner, I catch my partner looking at somebody else. Like we're walking through the mall, and my partner checks, somebody hot walks by, and he checks her out. And immediately internally, what's happening is that underneath, first reaction is jealousy. How dare you? I saw you looking at her. I saw it. And you're angry. And that's the jealousy piece. Like, it's almost like, it's just rage. It's like, how dare you do this to me? Which is the piece around that justification, right? That what happens with jealousy. This is why jealousy can be dangerous if not kept in check. And that's why people end up killing people in a state of jealousy, rage. Right? So this is important, okay? So there's that first feeling that you're like, oh my God, I can't believe you fucking did that. And then, depending on the person, most people will be like, no, I didn't. Because no one wants to, like, you've already been attacked for doing it, because you know you're not supposed to do it. Like, if you love me, because now this is what that means. If you loved me enough, you would never look at another human being. You would never be attracted to another human being. This is the premise. This is the premise of our belief system, okay? Cultural belief system. That if you loved me enough, so if you're attracted to somebody else, it means you don't love me. If you found somebody else attractive, it means that you don't find me attractive. So there's a either or, all or nothing mindset that's happening throughout this process. Okay. Now, first of all, I want to take thanks for the shout outs, and I'm glad you are loving this content. I'm excited to share it. It's wow, this is so amazing. Okay. So, where was I? Okay. So now we have this jealousy piece, and we've now lashed out at our partner for looking at somebody else and for being attracted to somebody else. And underneath, there's two things that are happening. You don't find me attractive, and you don't love me. That is what is the core issue that is happening internally in that moment. And instead of being able to look at, why do I not feel lovable and why do I not feel attractive right now? What ends up happening is, how dare you? How dare you do this to me? So instead of doing the I, we start doing the pointing of others. How you. Now, culturally, in monogamy, that's like totally okay. It's fucking not. I just have to say that for the record. It's not fucking okay. Nothing about that is fucking okay. That shit is unhealthy on so many levels. Because when we act like that, because we're in denial, we're not fucking monogamous. Of course we're attracted to other people. Attraction doesn't mean action. We can consciously choose. We can choose what we want to do with that attraction. We can choose, how we move with that. We can actually be attracted to somebody else and still be attracted to our current partner. Being attracted to somebody else doesn't mean that you're going to leave your partner. Doesn't mean abandonment. All of those things. It doesn't mean any of those things. It just means that as human beings, we are animals still. And as animals, as a species, other than a very small percentage of the population, we are actually not monogamous. We're not. So, here's what I want to leave you with. Because this is a big topic. Is one, to start looking at, why are you choosing monogamy? Because there's this other thing called conscious monogamy, which is really cool because we're not crazy and in denial. we consciously choose monogamy, and we consciously choose to acknowledge that our partners are attracted to other people and we're attracted to other people, but we're choosing each other, and we're choosing that we're not going to act upon that attraction. That's it. It's as easy as that, right? It's called conscious monogamy. This is honest and real. And what that does is it starts to help us heal the underlying shit that lives underneath the shit that is, we feel is justified, which is our jealousy. And we can heal that. And when we heal that, we don't actually need to feel that pain, that jealousy. We don't need to go on the attack. And we don't need to, whether you are in a monogamous relationship or a non-monogamous relationship, we don't need to attack, and somebody else isn't to blame for how we are feeling. Their behavior doesn't need to modify so that we don't feel what we're feeling. So, thank you everybody for all the amazing support and love and telling me how amazing this is. I love it. I'm so excited, that you're loving it, because I'm so excited about this. It's like, oh my God, oh, the missing link. Now it all of a sudden makes sense why we choose this. Because it's been confusing for me for 20 years. Actually longer than that. I'm like, why? Why do we do this? It's because we want to avoid the pain of jealousy. And we want to avoid the pain of jealousy because underneath we're wanting to avoid the pain of what's really underneath that jealousy. And in monogamy, in our current cultural society belief systems, that monogamy is that it's okay for you to actually have somebody change their behaviors. That's really what it is. If you're uncomfortable with your partner looking at somebody else, then you can yell at your partner and tell them not to do it. If you're uncomfortable that your partner has pictures of their ex on their Facebook page, you can make them take every picture that it has anything to do with their ex off of their, social media. Because it's expected. Because how dare you? Instead of being like, wow, it's great that you have a past. Like, why do I need to eradicate my past? Like, why? Like, that doesn't change. Like, my experience of the past doesn't change. Because at the end of the day, that's some major shit that you need to look at, which is, why are you feeling threatened or insecure about the past? The person who you are with in this moment is choosing you. So why are we afraid that if there's any remnants of anything that might threaten that? Well, that's because we don't feel safe. We don't feel secure. We don't feel lovable. We don't feel worthy of love. That's really the issue there. And trust me, making your ex or making your partner get rid of everything that came from your ex, every picture, every existence, any, things you bought together, that's not going to fucking change it. Not going to change the fact that you still feel unworthy of love, don't feel safe in the relationship, have an issue with trust. Like, that's just not going to change. So, all right, I could go on and on and on for a really long time about this. On all the things. But I lovingly invite you, and we'll have some more conversations about this, and other conversations in line with this. But I lovingly invite you to ask yourself, if I'm in monogamy, why? Is it because it's less complicated and I don't want to do the work? Like, as far as like it's just easier for my life? Or is it because you're trying to avoid abandonment and trying to avoid feeling jealous and trying to avoid feeling all of these feelings that are really uncomfortable to feel? And that it feels like somehow you will feel safer because that you've captured somebody. Is that why you've chosen monogamy? Have you chosen monogamy because society says that you're supposed to choose monogamy? Like, why have you chosen monogamy? That's the question I leave you with. And I'm going to repeat, like I said, attraction is not action. So that can be a huge piece of that transition within yourself. And if you need support and you want to learn how to navigate, well, how do I lean in under the jealousy feelings? How do I work through those emotions? Because those are big emotions. Those are not little emotions. Those are huge. This is like core issue shit, right? If you want some support, you can find me at succulentliving.com. I would love to help you through that process. And then also I have like some fabulous courses about really leaning into relationships and relationship styles and what kind of relationships work for you, and why do you choose those relationships, and asking yourself those questions that we're talking about right now. And I will put all those, all the details of that in the show notes of how you can do my relationship series. And I just want to thank every one of my listeners for being so spectacular, to hanging out with me, to listening to me, to leaning into places about topics that may be incredibly like, ooh, I'm excited, but oh my God, I can't believe she fucking said that. And yet you keep coming back. So I love you. I just want to give you a big love hug. All right. So thank you so much for spending your time hanging out with me and giving me a platform to share my thoughts and my feelings and my insights and my gifts with you. So thank you. All right. To find out how to spend more time with me, you can reach me at succulentliving.com. For all your BDSM needs, you can meet me hang out with me at empressgaia.com. Don't forget to follow me on all the social media platforms under Gaia Morrissette and or Empress Gaia. And let's see what else. Oh, and don't forget to hang out with me on my podcast. So if you're watching me live, great. But you're like, I keep missing episodes with Gaia. You can download my app. I have an app for my podcast called myorgasmic Life. You can download it for Android. I don't know if it's available for Apple, but I know in Android it is, on Google Play Store. And then you can also find my podcast on all of your favorite podcasting platforms. Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts, I'll be there. And if you're really like, I kind of like being a voyeur. I like listening to other people's juicy stories about their sex lives and their relationships, and you're like, ooh, that intrigues you. I host a podcast called Ticklelife podcast, and it is where we lean in with experts, and I ask them lots of probing questions. We find out all the juicy details about their lives, so I would check that out. All right, thank you. I love you. You're all amazing. Mwah. Have a juicy day. Don't forget to ask yourself the question, why have I chosen monogamy?